I had been living with Tourette since I was, a very little kid. And I had like no impulse control. I could not sit still. So the way that manifested in meditation was I could not sit and follow. But Claire, being the amazing helper that she is, found a way for me to continue meditating. I wanted to meditate with my eyes closed, and sit, but I just couldn't. I'd be like moving back and forth, like bouncing in my chair, like. So finally, she just said, just stand up and walk back and forth. You can do it with your eyes open, and I'll guide you. And so that's what it was. And they'd only let me come for like 20 minutes. And again, I would come every day, consistency. And 20 minutes eventually became 30 minutes, and eventually became 40 minutes, an hour, and then it got to the point where I was able to sit and meditate for 2-hour sessions.
Hello and welcome to Cham Chats. Here we talk about self-discovery and finding true happiness within. I'm Leanne, and today Matthew and I sat down with Brandon, a meditator from Plainview Meditation. In this episode, Brandon shares about how meditation gave him the tools to control his Tourette's and ADHD, and as a fitness expert, he shares some tips on how you can improve your health and fitness. We are very grateful to Brandon for sharing his story, and we hope that you enjoy this episode of Cham Chats. Hello, Brandon and Matthew.
Hello.
Hello.
Brandon actually wrote the song that we use for our intro music and outro music. So you're about to be very famous, Brandon, when our podcast explodes.
My gosh.
Yeah. So, and also thank you for letting us use that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It took us actually like a long time. We were brainstorming for so long about like what music to use and like, should we write something, even though I don't think either of us are composers, but we were just like trying to find the perfect thing. And then somebody brought up like the song you wrote and it just like fit perfectly.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I was so glad I didn't have to write anything because I can't, not my forte.
Neither one of you does music or anything like that.
Oh, we very much do. But composing is not really, I'm a musician, but I don't compose. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I like music. That's about the extent of why.
Yeah, you play too. You play a little guitar, right?
Yeah, I learned a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Matthew plays the kalimba.
Yes, I do have a kalimba.
Wow.
I know like one song.
The kalimba, is that a percussion instrument?
Maybe technically, but it's like that little thing you like, I don't even know how to describe it now.
Yeah. I've heard it described as like a thumb piano. It's like a little like wooden box with a sound hole and has like a metal like, I think they're called tines, or there's like metal strips that you hit and make the notes.
Yeah.
Oh, I just looked it up. I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that before. Wow, you can play that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what that's classified
Not
as.
a banjo. Makes me think of what's the thing? The
harmonica.
Yeah, because it's just like handheld instrument.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
Anyway, but we're not here to talk about music today. Although we could, maybe that could be like our next topic. Maybe.
Sure. Why not?
So Brandon, we wanted to talk to you specifically about like fitness, right? That's kind of your area of expertise. And of course, meditation and how that kind of comes together.
Yeah, I could talk about, health and fitness a little bit. I've had more than 10 years of experience in health and fitness. That was my career in my 20s. So yeah, I learned a lot. And it's a really great thing to learn, even if you don't do it professionally.
When did you start getting into fitness and coaching and stuff? Was this pre-meditation or after?
Like, when did I start getting into it professionally, or just in general,
or both, recreationally?
Okay, well, I've always been around it. Like, even as a kid, my parents they exercised, and I remember when I was in, I think, elementary school or middle school, my dad brought home one of these, like home gyms,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's got like a chest exercise, back exercise, the whole thing.
Mm.
And I remember even throughout middle school, I would, try and do some of the exercises, and I loved like growing the weight on the machine, you know. And then even in high school, I did like martial arts, and I was really into calisthenics. If you're not familiar with that, that's like body weight only exercises, like push ups, chin ups, things like that. Because I had a jungle gym, like a set of like monkey bars and like a swing set.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I would use those things. Like I would use the chin up bar to do like chin ups, and then I would do, pull myself up like over the bar, and I would use the swings to do like ab exercises. So it was just a lot of fun. And when I was older, like 19, and then getting into like my 20s, is when I got into the gym more. Actually, I've always been in gyms. Actually, from when I was 16, I started working in gyms as a swim instructor. I would teach swimming lessons and lifeguard at the my local JCC, and so I was always it was always near to me,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would do swimming. And then when I was 19, I worked at this really really nice gym, and that's when I also became friends with someone who was really into fitness at the time, and so I think the two just collided, and I really started to get into the gym more, like lifting weights and getting into more of that like more formal strength training.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I think at that time I was also looking to do something beyond just swimming lessons, because I think I was getting tired of being in the pool all day. So, and I just really liked the appeal of personal training, and it just kind of rubbed off on me in the right way. So I found out that to get certified is really easy. It's just a 3 month certification, and you take a test and you get your certification. And so I took a course at Hofstra University, and I loved it. I learned all about like surface level functionally, like biomechanics and biology and how the human body works. Um, and we even had hands-on exercises like practicing the movements and understanding the underlying cause, like reason, like why we do this exercise and how it affects the body. And I fell in love with it. Honestly, I love seeing how that works. And the theory was just so easily applicable to like practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm more of like a practical minded person, but understanding it, it was one of the first times I really liked to understand the theory behind it. And so I did that, and then pretty quickly after, I got a job at the JCC and started my career. And I was also really into working out, so it helped me in my own workouts too. And then yeah, so that's kind of how I got started.
What is JCC? I don't think I know what that
Oh,
is.
Jewish Community Center.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. So you became a trainer at the JCC.
Yeah, I
Right.
started out there. I got my certification at Hofstra, and then I got my first job at a Jewish Community Center. And
Okay.
then actually, I was only there for like a few weeks, and then I found a job at a New York sports clubs, which was
Mm.
closer to my house, and also the environment was like there was like some really amazing trainers there. So even though I really liked working at the JCC, I felt like if I want to grow in this, I have to make that transition.
Mm.
So um, so I went there and I learned so much. I mean, they were really world class instructors, who've trained with some like amazing, like even famous trainers, like Charles Poliquin, like have trained some of these trainers, and he's like a legend in the personal training world. And so yeah, I got to learn from some folks with like 10 years of experience and all different backgrounds. And so yeah, it was just a really great experience.
Cool.
Yeah. What was your question? I'm ADHD, so I'm going to jump from the topic to. We might start here, but we're going to end up here.
Yeah. Well, I
Oh.
think you just asked like how you got in, like were you always into it? So I think you answered it pretty well. Give the
Right.
full story.
Oh, okay, cool, cool.
So did you get like a degree in fitness, or you just did like a certification and then hop straight into working?
Yeah, I just did that. I was in college at the time. This is before meditation, but I really didn't like it, so I decided to just um, work instead for a while. So yeah, I was working at the gym, and then that's kind of when it started to come together to do personal training.
I was wondering, are you kind of like a people person? Because I know like coaching and helping people, obviously that's kind of a whole different skill set.
Yeah, I do like people. I like helping people, but I also
Mhm.
like people in general. I just like talking to people, getting to know people. Um, yeah, just chatting, exchanging, good energy with people.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a personal trainer for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
And like that was like 90% of the reason that I kept going to him. Honestly, it was like, well, one, because of the actual like workout that I was doing and what he was showing me. But honestly, like he was just like a really interesting person to talk to at the same time. That it kind of made it like more fun in a way to like have that interaction, learn something, but then also just like vibe well with somebody. So I feel like that's like a really important quality in a trainer too, is like not just do this workout, like you have to have a good personality too. So
Totally.
yeah.
I loved, I love that industry. I mean, every time I worked with trainers, they're always very positive people, very like upbeat, love
Hmm.
life, very outgoing people. I love
Yeah.
learning. Just I feel like a very healthy group of people.
Hmm. And he was also very passionate, sounds like you are too,
Yeah, very
about like,
passionate.
yeah, like he had like a lengthy explanation for like why we're doing this and like how it connects with like
Okay,
the muscles in the body and like what's happening. And yeah, it was always very interesting to like kind of understand it too.
that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
having a real fitness nerd is very good for a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's helpful to like if you can understand why you're doing something, it also makes you kind of a little more independent. Like
Totally.
afterwards, if you like aren't continuing with the training. So yeah, definitely someone who
Yeah,
can teach you, not just show you what to do, is yeah really valuable.
totally.
Hmm.
I used to spend hours just watching YouTube videos. Just I was like, oh, that's cool. Hearing different like philosophies, and then obviously understanding the science behind it is cool too.
Especially like nowadays, there's so much like fluff in the fitness like space, especially online. So it's like hard to like sometimes our people like cut through the noise and figure out like what works.
It's kind of unregulated. It's not like a medical field or anything. So there is a little bit of a Wild West aspect to it. But you know, that's why for me, learning the biology and the biomechanics behind it kind of helped me to just cut right through the nonsense,
Mm.
and I can understand like, oh yeah, that's going to be good. That's not going to be good.
Okay, so now I'm curious. I think to be in fitness, you have to be somewhat like pretty disciplined, right? As a person and like focused to some degree, I'd imagine.
Um, I think it really depends. You mean like as a professional, or just even being into health and fitness in general?
Just being into it in general.
Um, yes, and it really all depends on. I want to say yes and no, but like it really depends on what your goals are. If you have very high achieving goals, then yeah, you need to be really really disciplined. But
Mm,
if your goal is just to be healthy, prevent illness and stuff from getting older, then you don't need that much discipline.
hmm,
So it's kind of, I guess, depends on what you're going for.
okay.
Yeah, I've kind of it's been my experience too. Even as I've gotten into like fitness and stuff, is like it's not like you need to be consistent, but it's I think it's not as much as people think. Like you like pretty much never have to be perfect about it. There's always wiggle room, And yeah, definitely being consistent over a long period is like it's what I've learned is kind of the most important aspect.
Totally, definitely. I think consistency is a really good quality.
So at what point in your journey and why did you decide to like start meditating?
Um, I was actually one of the reasons why I became a trainer was I was looking for to go like a little bit deeper within. Um, yeah, like yeah, I was just looking for some answers. I had big questions, like who am I? Why am I here? There has to be more to like life than just living and working and stuff like that. Like I don't know, I
Mm.
wanted to find out more. So yeah, I tried all different sorts of things that drew my attention, like like yoga and like changing my diet. Um, doing more like uh, you know physical stuff, like personal training and exercise. Um, I think it was just my attempts at the time to like go within and go deeper. But yeah, when I was 22 is when I found meditation. I had done a couple others, like Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, and maybe Deepak Chopra's stuff.
Mm.
Um, and it was okay. But then I don't know. I guess right place, right time. When I found this meditation, it was like yeah, I'm ready to go. This is it.
Mm.
So yeah, it just connected right away. Like yeah, I could like see it was definitely to go within and find the truth, find the answers, actually become the truth. Those kinds of things
Mm.
really strongly resonated with me. So I think that really motivated me to sign up.
And they kind of lined up with what you were looking for.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What kind of attracted you to it, like that you felt was different than what you were already doing, like this?
Um, well, at the time, it's going to sound silly, but I was trying to find a way out from the dream.
Mm.
So I don't know why, but I had read a book on enlightenment. It was called Spiritual Enlightenment, The Damnedest Thing by an author named Jed McKenna. And what he wrote about enlightenment totally flipped it on its head for me. I previously understood enlightenment through like Buddhism or other things where it's like this attainment of something,
Mhm.
this sort of idealistic state. But he basically said that's all nonsense. He said, enlightenment is about getting rid of anything that's not truth until all that's left is truth. And that, at least that's how I understood his message. It's a kind of like process of continuous like self digestion and until all that's left is just the pure truth. And I forgot where I had heard, maybe it was from his book or from something else that I started to like realize that I'm living like a dream in like a dream world, you know? And so I kept this thought in my head, like, oh, I want to wake up from this dream. So I kept looking for ways to do it. Um, he even had a method of like, you write down like you write down like in a journal or something, like until you can figure out what's true or not. Like, but that really didn't work for me. So, but I was just really, really searching for that specifically. So then when I found meditation, the person who was promoting the center at the time, she said, or maybe that's just what I heard. I don't know. Right. Memory is not clear. But she basically said, she's like, yeah, you can wake up from the dream. And then I was like, I'm done. Sign me up.
That's so cool that that analogy was like already in your head even before, because I don't think I had that concept at all about there being a dream world and waking up from it. It just
Yeah.
kind of felt like it felt like the opposite. It felt like this was like the harsh reality that like I just didn't know how to cope with or something.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, like, I think sometimes people can go either way. But
Mm.
for me, there was a point where I like could not, like, these thoughts of, I couldn't ignore them. I could not suppress them at all. I mean, it was just totally like I had to find the answers. Like I had to find it. It was more important to me than even having like a plan for the future, you know, even working or anything, Like this was it for me. I had to either find this or that's it. Lights out. So I was very desperate to find it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I occupied my time with while I was at work or while I was
Mm.
at home. I would it just kept twirling around in my head. I really felt like I was nuts. I really was nuts with it. But it was something that really drove me at the time. It was very, very important to me. And ultimately is what led me to starting this meditation. So, yeah, very, very grateful for that moment, even though I felt very, very lonely and I felt very crazy at times, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because, I would tell people, I'm like, don't you know, this is all fake, none of this it's all nonsense, think about it after you die, like what happens? Doesn't matter, you know, and they'd be like, oh, you're depressed, like, what are you saying? It's, like people wouldn't get it, but it like didn't matter. I could not follow the crowd. I had to follow this, something within me. Um, so that's ultimately what led me to starting this thing and really sticking with it. Like I went every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Claire actually, you haven't heard this episode yet because technically it hasn't launched yet.
Right.
Although when this is out, it'll have been done already. But Claire actually mentions you not by name
Yeah.
uh, in our first episode as a student that she had that couldn't like focus or couldn't sit still for the whole session or something like that. And that I asked her like somebody that comes to mind as like had like a major improvement or something that stood out to her, and she did mention you. So I was curious from your perspective of that story. I don't know if you know exactly like the moment she's talking about or
I do. She's been
okay.
talking about that for 10 years. Yeah, it was I didn't even realize it at the time, but it was a really big thing. When I first started, this was 2014. I was 22, just to give some context. And at the time, I had just so much anxiety. Of course, I mean, with the kind of thoughts and emotions that I was describing before, of course, I
Hmm.
had a tremendous amount of anxiety. And I also, yeah, have had like ADHD and, I was diagnosed with depression and stuff. But the main thing I think was that I also have Tourette syndrome.
Hmm.
And for folks who may not know what Tourette syndrome is, it's a neurological condition, and it causes your body to kind of involuntarily make a tick. So either a physical tick or a vocal tick. And generally, some people will have one or the other, maybe a nervous tick, but for Tourette's, you have both. So when I was 6 years old, I started to show signs of Tourette's, and I went to a neurologist, and I was diagnosed. So I had been living with Tourette's since I was, yeah, a very little kid, and I didn't realize how my mind and was affected in many ways. Like I completely lost the ability. Like I had like no impulse control. I could not sit still. I had some really, at times, pretty severe behavioral problems, issues.
Hmm.
So the way that manifested in meditation was I could not sit and follow. But Claire, being the amazing helper that she is, found a way for me to, you know, continue meditating even with that. And so I would throw away, and I wanted to I wanted to meditate with my eyes closed, and sit, but I just couldn't. I'd be like moving back and forth, like bouncing in my chair, like. So finally, she just said, just stand up and walk back and forth. You can do it with your eyes open, and I'll guide you. And so that's what it was. And I mean, Serena was like the main. She's like the main helper of the Plainview Center, and then but Claire also guided me a lot too. And so yeah, they just had me meditate with my eyes open and just stand up, and I can pace around the room back and forth. I'd walk down the halls and come back, and sure enough, I can only meditate. They'd only let me come for like 20 minutes, like right. Which I mean, in meditation terms, is a lot actually.
Mhm.
You think about typical meditation. You say, "Oh yeah, meditate for 1 minute, meditate for just 5 minutes a day," right? And they think that's a huge achievement. But the starting point for me was 20 minutes. So that just shows how amazing this method is, that even starting out, you can easily do 20 minutes. Even some kid with Tourette's and ADHD and all kinds of issues can do it. So, yeah, she just had me meditate with my eyes open and walk around starting 20 minutes. And again, I would come every day, consistency. And 20 minutes eventually became 30 minutes and eventually became 40 minutes, an hour. And then finally I can sit and meditate, still with my eyes open. And then finally I can sit and meditate with my eyes closed. And then it got to the point where I was able to sit and meditate for 2 hour sessions. I think one day, I still remember one day where I meditated for 4 hours. I think I just took a short break, but then I did 4 hours in one day. And it was just a tremendous achievement. And then I realized the sort of, I guess you could say, the episodes where I'd have symptoms would get less and less frequent.
Mm.
So, yeah, I learned how to meditate that way. So thanks to Claire and, of course, Serena and the other helpers there at the time who were so patient.
Yeah, I think that's really cool too that they found a way to help you in your situation. Because most people, I think, wouldn't think, like, when you think meditating, you think sitting down with your eyes closed and like
Right. Don't
being still.
move.
You don't think of somebody being able to pace around and still meditating at the same time. Right?
Exactly.
So, but like you said, this method is very direct and it works. You don't have to necessarily be sitting still with your eyes closed to still be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It just works.
Mm.
Even if the meditator is not good at meditating.
I think we've all experienced that at some point.
Sure.
We're not doing a good job, but yeah, stuff still keeps on changing. And yeah. I mean, I love your story. It's kind of amazing just to hear like such a big change. And yeah, like I mean, like Leanne says, like Claire told me that story too when I first started. Of like, oh, there's this guy that couldn't sit still and has a lot of anxiety, but he overcame it and improved a lot. So yeah, I think you've inadvertently helped and inspired a lot of people over the years.
Wow. I'm very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Very grateful that my insanity could be useful for someone.
Your overcoming of insanity is very
Good
useful.
point. Very good point.
So did that help like other aspects of your, like was ADHD and Tourette's like interfering with other aspects of your life that meditation helped with?
Yeah, it completely. I didn't mention this, but in the early part of my 20s, and in my teens, like late teens, I basically I stopped going to school. And I said I didn't like it, but it's because I could not do it.
Wow.
I could not actually finish my classes. I just couldn't handle, I guess, the pressure. And also my mindset was very negative. I just felt very, very burdened by any sort of like institutions or any kind of, at the time I was very like nonconformist. And I really felt burdened by any sort of conformity. I don't know, maybe that sounds cheesy nowadays, but it was very, very hard for me just to sit in a classroom. And I guess really now that I understand myself better, also I realized my learning style is so counter to a classroom setting. Learning through lecture and reading and textbooks is for me the complete opposite of what's comfortable and easy for me. I learn the best through experience, doing it, getting my hands on, and then having like making mistakes and having things explained to me. And then I think that's why I loved learning about fitness, and it was easy to learn because I had already built up some experience doing it. So when I started to learn the theory, it made sense to me. But so yeah, it was also so I couldn't really I couldn't overcome that hill. I didn't have maybe the strength at the time or even the space in my mind to sit in the classroom and learn. And I really didn't believe in it either at the time. So I just do what I want to do, which is just work and search for truth.
So did you get like a GED or like?
Well, I graduated high school.
Oh, you did? Okay. I thought you said you like quit high school.
Oh,
like I thought you dropped out. I thought that's what you were saying.
College.
Oh,
My first
okay.
college.
I
Yeah.
see.
I went through high school. I was a very good student. I was
Mhm.
naturally like very talented, and I can get good grades very effortlessly
Mhm.
at the high school level. But at the college level, you really have to put in that time and the effort, and
I see.
you're also responsible for your own schedule and your own time. So that is an extra added burden that I wasn't ready for.
Mm.
And yeah, so meditation totally turned that around for me. So after 3 years of meditating, I went back to community college and graduated. And then I transferred to a 4 year school, and then I graduated in the spring of 2020 with a 4 year degree in accounting, no less. So it's,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I really like it. And turns out I'm pretty well suited to it. I'm pretty good at math and numbers and logic. And,
Mm.
once I overcame all of that, the pictures and the habits around, school and work and all these things, I was able to discover like talents that I didn't even know I had,
Mm.
and interests and things that actually are really cool, things I didn't even expect. So I really had a good time with it, and I'm really enjoying doing accounting now. 10 years ago, you asked me about that, I'd have been like, "No, dude." Really, I got this tattoo specifically because at the time I was 19 or 20. I was like, I wanted to make certain that I could never get a job in corporate.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, what would make sure that I never get a job in an office? I was like, so I got this tattoo, and turns out, the culture changed with corporate now. So it's like, damn it.
That's
There goes the
hilarious.
excuse.
Now it's like, oh, you only have one. So yeah, so that's kind of what happened. It was a big turnaround for me with that, and obviously with my career, I was able now I make like a lot more money than I used to, which is good,
Mm.
and I'm more satisfied. I have goals now. My relationships are much much better with my family and my friends and everything like that. So yeah, everything has just got turned around completely. Different. It's a different life. Yeah, totally different life.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's inspiring hearing that too, because I feel like I also went through something similar. It's sort of like in college, and kind of same to you, is like never not thinking about the dream, but I'm just kind of looking around at people. I'm like, something's not right. you
Mhm.
know,
yeah,
yeah, that's kind of what led me down this path, and then I'm kind of in the middle of exploring my interests and what I want. So it's definitely inspiring also to hear from somebody else that you kind of found your way eventually.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's a great time to be in, like discovery, and yeah, it's been quite a journey, and
Mhm.
I feel like it still is just beginning.
Yeah.
I really feel like the best is yet to come,
Mhm. I feel that way too.
and yet I feel like today's the best day ever.
Yeah, it's really amazing how like you can have that perspective after really going inward and doing the work. Like, yeah, it's like you just kind of live more in the moment. Just kind of grateful for every day, but you can also sort of plan and take action for the future. Where it's before we're always kind of stuck in our own thoughts and minds, and you don't realize how much that's actually limiting us.
Completely. Yeah, it's like you're stuck in a box. You're just limited to these four walls. But then, once you're able to come out of that box little by little, you realize there's so much more. And yeah, it's really amazing. Amazing journey.
Mhm. And something you said about like hidden talents or like something that you didn't even know you would have been good at or something like that. I think Matthew, not a couple of days ago, I think you said something like that. We find our like hidden talents like through meditation, basically, or like when you have more truth in you,
Mhm.
that's kind of stuff comes out. And yeah, I'm seeing more of that too. I'm not that talented, but but I'm definitely seeing like skills that I have that I didn't think before that I could do. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that talented either.
Yeah, I think we all kind of think the same way. It's like I'm really not that good at this stuff, but when other people see us, we're like, "Wow, you guys are like really good at this. You're amazing."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, it's sort of good to have a dose of humility, but also there's a fine line between humility and being hard on yourself. But I think sometimes we walk that line. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think there's also like a level of acceptance too for what you're just not that good at too, without being hard on yourself. Like when you can recognize it in other people, for example, like this person really excels in this area and like me not so much, but I'm also really good at this and like them not so much.
Yeah.
Because I know I have like perfectionist mind and like I need to be good at everything, but it's kind of relieving also to just kind of realize like,
Mm,
okay, I cannot be good at that thing and like just accept that and also recognize that I'm good at this other thing. So, yeah.
that's great. And it's interesting you mentioned that. I realized, I had a very competitive mind. I had to win,
Mm.
and I since I've gotten over that now, looking back, I realized that I would avoid like competitions or any kind of that kind of thing because I was so needing to like win or avoid losing that I would avoid those kinds of things. But now I can actually enjoy the pursuit of winning without any expectations or pressure or any worries. It's just like really enjoying the competition. That's just one thing, but also like in the pursuit of perfection. Like
Mm.
being able to just enjoy that process. Because it's good to shoot the highest and but without that pressure, without that expectation, just truly like enjoying it.
Mm.
yeah, you're not
And
really
if
like
you don't
attached
get
to
there, you
them.
don't get there. That's
Mm.
good too.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's a lesson I'm in the process of learning. So I'm like exploring new interests. Is like I kind of see where I'm at, and like in my mind, I have this picture of where I want to be, and that like, of course, generates a little negativity and tension. So it's like sort of
Mm,
learning to let that go. And I think the irony of that is that oftentimes that actually keeps you from getting to where you want to be.
Mhm.
yeah,
Funny enough, and it's like when you, so I'm kind of working to let that go, and then just kind of doing what you have to do day in day out to like develop the skill.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's a kind of I find that things come around in circles, and then like when I realize something about that, and then maybe weeks or months later, I'll revisit that same thing with a new perspective, and then I'll learn something new from that.
Mm.
Like I was doing that for a while, just kind of doing what I need to do, and then now I'm like, oh, I want to go here and here and here and here, and like where I want to be. Right now, I'm like really striving for it, like and making it like a goal that I'm making happen, and it's more like, yeah, I'm on the way, and it's like enjoying the steps to get there, and then also at the same time enjoying just doing what I need to do every day without worrying about that. It's really it's amazing. It's like kind of both. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like kind of got the best of both worlds without any of the, I guess, what do you call that? It's the negativity or the drawbacks of getting sucked into either one.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go, if you want to get like deep or whatever, philosophical. I mean, this world is there's like a duality in this world, right? Like there's a yin and a yang, and so it's like with everything,
Mhm.
it's like the pursuit of the goal and also just enjoying the moment, and then striving for more, and then also just being here as you are, and like that yin and yang, But when we meditate, when we throw away that mind, it's like then we can have both
Mhm.
in our minds at the same time.
As you started meditating, like, did you find that like your your own like health or habits starting to improve?
Oh yeah, completely. Um, I found a lot of like I guess like I had back pain in my lower back and joint pain. And whenever the seasons would change here in New York, I would get sick for a couple of days, or I remember even when I was in like school, I there was one year where I was sick like every other week, and just like with colds, runny nose and stuff. Also feeling like very tired all the time, low energy, brain fog, and with just simply meditating, a lot of those things cleared up. Like the back pain cleared up. I realized a lot of that was mental and emotional.
Mhm.
Um, the the joint pains cleared up as well. And overall, I've just become, interestingly, more active. So just moving around more naturally. So, the movement is the key to health. I mean, aside from what you eat and other things, but like movement, as far as like the body goes, like that's like the thing, right? You have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, as I've been meditating more, I realized a lot of laziness came out, and so I naturally just am moving more, and so I think I'm just more healthy like that overall, without really even changing my lifestyle all that much. Like, oh, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Like, I don't have to do that. I'm just more active overall. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's been really helpful, and then yeah, just being able to like set goals, fitness goals, and achieve them, and be consistent, hold myself accountable, and yeah, it's been really good changing my habits like that. I've been able to also like control my eating. I love food. I love the joy of eating. Right. I'm a foodie at heart. Right. Uh,
Me too.
and but when I was growing up, I was very skinny. I was very very skinny kid, and so growing up, I could eat whatever I wanted with no consequences. And at that time, there still wasn't much going on around like how diet affects your health. It was just like, don't eat too much fried foods or whatever, or too much cakes and cookies. But so I would just eat whatever I wanted as much as I wanted, and I would never gain a pound.
Mm-hmm.
Flash forward to now, I'm 30, and the same habit has consequences now. So especially during the pandemic, I like to joke around and say that I got the 20-20-20. So that was a real wake up call. And so this year, I really made it a point to work on that again. And it was not easy, but I'm doing it. I'm getting there. I really have changed a lot. So I think it's definitely because of meditation. I used to have a habit of not sticking with things, and once things get hard, I jump ship. But now I can easily push past that and just stay consistent. And so even in just a few months, I've been able to really change my physique a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm not like disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like, hey, nice dude. So cut that out. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I'm definitely seeing those, being able to like actually change it now, and now I'm like, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to a lot of that. So as you said, like the really like changing the eating habits, like for me, like binge eating and emotional eating was a big thing. And I found that, I constantly tried to change it or to try to like, force myself like not to eat, but it's like I can never really help it.
Yeah,
So eventually I kind of realized like, okay, I have to deal with my mind and my emotions and whatever's going on in there.
yeah,
And then I think it was probably like this year really is like when maybe back in like, I think I remember it was like February or March is where I found like I really started to like naturally stop doing it.
Mhm.
Because with like binge eating,
Yeah.
if anybody's ever experienced, is like you oftentimes like you start eating and in your head you're like, I'm not
I
that
can stop.
hungry. I don't want to eat. I should stop, but I can't. you know.
Exactly.
So that was like always my experience, and yeah,
Mm.
meditation really helped me to like I said, address what was going on inside me with whatever anxiety or depression or whatever vacuum the food was trying to fill. when that went away, I
Right.
was like in a
When your
much better
auric
control.
turns on,
Yeah,
turn on the Dyson vacuum and go to town.
yeah,
Yeah, I like to. I love to snack at night.
yeah,
I love
Mm-hmm.
snacking.
yeah. We're all in the same boat there. It looks like.
It's like one of the great pastimes of this world.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. So I still do, but now I can control my portions a little bit better. So that's the key. Portion control. That's a big one. That way you can kind of still eat whatever you want,
Mm,
but not. I think Sisingim wrote about that. He said, like, obviously when you got to throw away the mind, but also, eat, but up to the point before you get full,
Mm.
and that every time I do that, I feel fantastic. Whatever I eat,
Really?
I don't feel bloated. I feel good. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if I'm eating like super greasy food, I'll feel the grease.
Yeah.
Like just buckets of fried. But yeah, if I'm eating something that I like, he says don't eat too much of what you like. So yeah, so like if I eat what I like, I won't eat. I'll try not to eat too much of it, and then I'm very satisfied that way. But there's that initial change of like, oh no, there's like I want to feel that full feeling.
Yeah.
But over time, it's like way more comfortable to just eat properly portioned.
Mm-hmm.
But I think mentally, one has to be ready for that change. So it took me a while to I had to meditate on that a lot to get ready for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think we know logically is like the better decision to make. But like just knowing that and actually being like able and willing to do it are two different things. And I think
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we feel like we have to force ourselves to make those decisions,
Mm,
which maybe you do a little bit, but like Matthew was saying, some things just kind of happen naturally too when you don't have that mind anymore. So
yeah.
it's not always going to be like a huge sacrifice, I guess. Like it kind of just comes naturally as you're like more healthier in the mind, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting is I find whenever I'm willing to make that sacrifice, I find that's like much, much more opportunities of better things opens up for me. It's like the coconut analogy. Do you know that one? The story of the monkey and the coconut.
I don't think I do.
Oh, it's a great one. So there's I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a certain monkey I think that lives in these forests with coconuts, and hunters, in order to trap them, will set a box down with a little hole inside, big enough for the monkey to stick its hand through, and it'll put a coconut inside the box. And so the monkey will, see the coconut, reach inside, grab the coconut, and then it will try and pull its hand out, but it's stuck because it's big enough for the hand, but not big enough for the coconut. So it'll get stuck and it will not let go of the coconut. And so it'll stay there, and then the hunter will just catch it and whatever. So um, it's an amazing analogy because if the monkey just let go of this of the damn coconut, there's a whole forest of coconuts right behind it. So I found that analogy to work really well in my own life. I was holding on to something so strongly that it was, first of all, like killing me. If I just let go of that thing, there's so much more
Mhm.
that I will be able to that will open up before me.
Hmm.
And so if I just let go of that old past of thinking, then I can have all the coconuts.
Yeah.
You can binge eat all the coconuts after that.
Yes, I can binge eat the coconuts.
So I'm learning a little bit about about health in general. But do you have any other like what did we learn today? First of all, let me just review mentally. Eat until until right before you're full, right?
Yeah.
That's what
Mhm.
Sisanim said. I also learned it's good to move,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, do you have any other tips for us?
I'd say the best thing that I found that I really have been loving lately is strength training. Um, I think it's so great. And strength training is really just about moving objects, you know, from one place to another. Really, that's really what it was. That's the overly simplistic,
Mhm.
um, And so I say that because there's many different schools of thought. There's many different schools of strength training. There's of course the gym goer, like bodybuilding, where you train like each part of your body individually and
Mhm.
focus on building up muscle and definition. There's powerlifting and Olympic lifting, where you focus on like specific types of specific getting good at specific exercises. There's calisthenics, which I told you, is about body weight. I mean, there's so many different schools, but I find for me, I love the bodybuilding one. That's the one I've always kind of come back to. where, because, you just take like one body part, like chest or arms or legs, and you just do a bunch of exercises to try and strengthen those muscles. And I just feel so good after doing it. You feel like when you do it for a while, you feel something called a pump where, it just feels like so like satisfying in your muscles. Um,
Are you talking about like immediately after the workout or long term?
well, immediately after your workout, if you focus on a muscle group, it'll
Mhm.
like, because you're focusing so much, like blood rushes into that area and it feels almost like tight, but
I was gonna say I love that feeling
you
after the
know that one?
gym.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up, but you did already. But yeah, I was like, I don't know what I
Yeah,
didn't know what to call it, but I always
yeah,
feel so satisfied when I feel that like inflation. It feels like
Yeah.
someone blew up a balloon in my arm or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The pump, as Arnold called
The
it.
pump.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I love that. And you really you see like the results of your efforts like pretty quickly. I mean, I got back into strength training very consistently, maybe like a month, like 2 months ago, and within that time, I is when I got my most change, like physically in my physique. And yeah, I don't know, I just don't get bored of it. I don't get sick of it. There's so many different exercises you could do. You can change up your schedule however you like. 2 days. You can do 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever you like. Right now, I just do 3 days a week, and it's really working well for me. But it's just so good. It's good for your bones. Keeps the bones strong. It's good for your mind. If you really work out with intensity with like really heavy weights, that you really reach like exhaustion within like 10 reps. It's so intense, like it actually acts as like a cardio, even like you get your heart rate going. Like I'm
Mhm.
sweating at the end of my workouts, and yeah, it's always good. And then you can see the incremental progress. It's really easy to track. So I just love strength training.
It's a love-hate relationship for me.
Yeah.
I love it, and I also lately have been like facing a lot of resistance with like not really wanting to go. But I do, like I said, I love the feeling of afterwards when I'm done. But like sometimes getting myself there, a lot of times has been a struggle lately. It wasn't really in the past, but for some reason now I'm just like, I don't want to do it.
Oh, do you know why? Is it just planning the exercises? Is it like, just the idea of having to exert that much effort, or just busy wise, schedule wise?
I think it's like a little bit of everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
it's okay to go through that. You know,
yeah,
like,
I think I'm not that creative with like switching it up too, but I think it's the energy part. It's just like the having to exert like I have to get up and do something
yeah,
it's just it feels like something I want to achieve, but also I have to like just force myself to get up and do it. I don't know how to explain it really, but
no, I understand.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
very common. Do you go in the morning or
I
wherever?
go usually after work, so I go like 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you go straight from work to the gym.
pretty much. Yeah.
That's good. That way you got no excuses. No, it's easier. You're already out. It's like, all right, I'll just go.
Oh no, I do have to go home and change. But anyway, we don't have to. We don't have to do this now.
Sorry. That's
No,
my,
it's okay.
that's my
The coach
instinct.
mind is kicking in.
I would love to talk about it more. But I don't know if our listeners care so much about my workout routine.
Good point. Good point.
Unless they can learn through maybe somebody else is like, I'm totally with you. What should I do?
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, that's like probably the most common
Yeah.
reason why people don't go to the gym or stop going,
Mhm.
is because eventually they feel like a burden to go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I started like getting more into health and fitness like 6 years ago, and I've had times of like just taking a break and not doing anything, or
Yeah.
same things. Like even now, sometimes it's like I have to get myself to just get started.
I went through that big time, like during the pandemic, especially, when things were closed. Like I really went through that. And then this year I really had like a reawakening to it. So, it kind of comes and goes. So, when you're not feeling it, like you don't have to fight it.
Mhm.
Don't feel bad
Mhm.
about it. Just go with it.
Yeah, I think definitely our priorities change as the seasons in life change too. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's just learning to adjust. Do less if that's what you can do more when you can, and it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing.
exactly. It's really a lifelong thing. You don't have to just do the same thing.
Mm.
Maybe one year you're just doing like gym stuff, and then maybe another year you're like really into walking and hiking, and then I'm just going based on the year, but you just you really listen to your body, what it wants, what it needs, and then you go with it, and it's usually the right choice.
Hmm. Thank you, Brandon. That was very helpful for me, actually. I think I needed to hear that.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And as you meditate, you become more sensitive to what your body is trying to tell you, and you can listen better.
Hmm.
So,
Cool. Do you have any other advice for us
oh man.
or things to say in general?
I think that's it on the health advice. Just yeah, just if you don't have a habit of it, just make your if you're just getting into the gym for the first time or any kind of exercise, the first priority should be to build a habit of it. But also at the same time is to build like at least as far as the activity goes, but as far as like a mindset goes, building a mind of like really enjoying, like
Mm.
really like joyful and happy. So I think with those two things, you'll be all right. Um, yeah, you can use YouTube, ChatGPT, AI will help you come up with stuff. Learning is so available now.
I just realized I could get a workout routine from ChatGPT.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
yeah, totally. You can say like there's even some other AIs like they're all like ChatGPT, but you just type in like I don't know, I'm not feeling it. What do I do? How can I switch it up? You
Yeah.
know, and then it'll tell you what to do. It's the AI era.
They would go to the gym for you if they could.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
move my arms for me, please. Oh yeah, it's gonna be amazing someday. Integrating with AI and everything. Oh man, can't wait.
Do you have any other questions, Matthew?
Uh, no questions.
Or any comments?
I made to think of one sort of tip, which I don't know might be a little out of sequence since the conversation passed, but we'll
Mm.
put it in there anyways. Like as far as like getting started, with like even just like getting to the gym, I think probably one of like good piece of advice I heard is like somebody said like just get in there and just do your warm up. Like don't even worry about the rest of the workout. Just get to the gym and just do your warm up. And if probably 9 times out of 10 after you do your warm up, it's like, well, I'm there already. I'll just get started and do the workout. But like if you
Mm.
do your warm up and you really don't want to do it, then
Yeah,
just go home. So like
Mm.
just like make it a point
yeah,
to get there and start with something small.
And
And
then at least you did something too.
yeah.
yeah. Or even just sit in the parking lot. You gotta start
Hey,
somewhere.
that could be good too. Is just making a habit of going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Also, for me, convenience is a huge thing.
Mm.
So I go to Planet Fitness because it is, well, first of all, it's a great gym. I don't care what they say. And it's really great. And also, it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes from my house.
Mhm.
Even with the worst traffic, it's 5, 10 minutes. And it's like, oh, I could just hop over there 5, 10 minutes, five,
Mhm.
10 minutes away. It's so convenient. So that's a big one for me. It like just opened up too nearby. It's like just opened up this year, which is perfect because the last one was like 10, 15 minutes away. And I'm like, oh, get myself to go. I felt that kicking in.
Mhm.
But then now it's like, oh, yeah, it's only like less than 10 minutes away. I can go. No problem. It's quick. So
Yeah.
convenience is really helpful.
Yeah, mine is 5 minutes, probably less than 5 minutes away from me. I think I even walked there once just to get that was my cardio warm up. I walked there. It's like a 20-minute
Perfect.
walk. Yeah.
Yeah. Just start by like looking at the gym outside,
I just look out your window.
looking up pictures of gym equipment on
Yeah.
Google. He's got to start somewhere. Desensitized to it.
So obviously, thanks for coming, Brandon. Um,
My
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you,
I,
Brandon.
I do
Yeah.
know that you also do teach the live home workout class for online meditation events. So that's
Mm.
if
Yes, that's right. 12 p.m. Eastern time. myself and my amazing, co-trainer Chris. We host that class every Sunday. It's a lot of fun. It's really great for anywhere, like at wherever fitness level you're at. It's a great class to join. If you're looking and for whatever you're looking for, if you're looking to get into strength training more, it's a great class. If you're looking to do like more recovery work, and it's really great for whatever you're looking for. So I think it will be great for you. So yeah, check it out. OnlineMeditationEvents.com.
12 p.m. Eastern.
12 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday.
Yes.
Got it.
Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern time.
Awesome.
Eastern Sunday, 12 p.m. time.
Well, thank you again so much, Brandon, for your time and for your advice and your story. I think you're going to inspire, even though you already do, you're going to inspire a lot more people, hopefully, through this podcast.
Oh, thanks.
When we blow up and become famous.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, you've got at least one viewer here. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, we're definitely going to share the content on our channels too, and
do you want to promote your center? What's your center again?
Oh yeah, Plainview Meditation Center, Long Island, Nassau County, New York. Plainview Meditation Center. Come on by.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can check out our website too, plainviewmeditation.org.
Awesome. All right.
Okay.
It was a pleasure to meet you officially.
Yeah, you too.
Next time in person, hopefully.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah, it was really great being on here. I had a great conversation. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to Cham Chats. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to leave a review and follow us on social media. All of the links are in the description. And if you're interested in trying this meditation method yourself, you can visit OnlineMeditationEvents.com for online classes or to be connected to a center near you. See you next time.